Alrighty, YouTube. Now, here's a video on different types of line. Okay. So let me just move this over here a little so you can see me and the line. There we are. Now this is a video on different types of line. So from here to here, they're all in descending order of pound test. Here we have some 40-pound test. This is fluorocarbon line, no memory. This is no memory fluorocarbon. Now, as you can see, I've already put some on my reel, and there's not much on there. Like, I mean, you can see the black in there. That's the black there is the spool, right? Now, when I get that close, there's no way you're going to be using that much line. I mean, you can't splice your line. I mean, well, you could splice your line, but you can't, in a way, right? Like, you just, that's not something you do when you're spooling up your line on your rod, because the knots break and, yeah. So, this is a 40-pound test fluorocarbon. Now, what I like to do when it gets to almost at the end of the spool and there's line on there, I like to keep this because I can use it to make leaders, right? So, there's still about probably 25 yards of this on here, but yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up, and there's another one there in the package, the pink right there. So here is it brand new. There's 370 yards of that on. The average spool you're going to get would be 370 yards. That's about the average I ever get. You can get like lots of them, like bulk ones, I'd say. Like this is a 20-pound test. This is stern, and this is an old line, but it's still good line. I mean, looking at it, there's no nicks in it. It's not old and rotten. I mean, you can't break it. It'll cut you if you break it. But yeah, this is good line. Stern makes great line. My experience with Stern is like they specialize in fishing line, right? Now, any company that specializes in something is usually the company that's going to get it right, right? Like, I mean, Rapella, they specialize in lures, but they also make fishing line, right? I haven't used it yet. I have a spool of it here. It was given to me, a bunch of fishing gear from my step-granddad. But Stern specializes in making fishing line, so that's great. I mean, it's great because they'll know what they're doing more, right? Like, they can troubleshoot it more, right? So set that there. That's Stern 20-pound test. Now, the 20 and the 40 I generally use for fishing striped bass, or stripers you can call them. Now, here in Nova Scotia is the best place in the world to fish stripers. People are going to argue about this, but that's for another video. I'll post actually another video after this, just for that. So, this here is South Bend 15-pound test. I like to use a 15-pound test or a 10-pound test for smallmouth bass. Why? Because smallmouth bass fight hard. They fight hard for a freshwater fish. But yeah, South Bend 15-pound test. I like to use that for smallmouth bass. I like to use 10-pound test, which I have on my my rod here, which oddly enough is a South Bend Eclipse. I'm gonna do a review of that. It's a great rod, absolutely great. So now we get into these ones here. This one here, this here, this here, and this here are all 6-pound test. Now I like to use 6-pound test for trout fishing. And a lot of people say, no man, you shouldn't go over a 4-pound test. A lot of people will say that. They'll say you shouldn't go over a 4-pound test. 4-pound test is enough. I like to use a 6-pound test because it's great for, like, it's got more of a pound test, so if you get snagged, you can pull out, like, go to your snag easily. So that's a 6-pound test. This is an Advantage brand. Not really sure. This is a 900-yard spool, by the way. And this South Bend one, this is a 370-yard spool. I don't know if I said this or not, but the Stern one, the 20-pound test, that was a 1,000-yard spool. So this one here is a 900-yard spool. And right here we have the same brand, and actually it's like the same size spool too, but this one has 1,600 yards of 6-pound test. What the difference? Oh well, there's not much of a difference between the size of the spools. It's weird. Ooh, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, this one's a 1,600 yards of 6-pound test line. So that's a 6-pound. And here's some more 6-pound. This is some brand new 6-pound. This is a Trilene. Now, Trilene is a Berkeley brand. for line. Right now, try Berkeley makes some great line. Okay, I most definitely always use Berkeley, but Stern is my favorite. I love Stern. Now, this is a 6-pound test monofilament line. And by the way, this is a monofilament. That's a monofilament. These two are monofilament. That's monofilament. And these two are monofilament. The only one that's fluorocarbon is these two. I'll move them back into view here. Here. You bastard. So yeah, this one here is a monofilament 6-pound. I'm sure I said that a lot. It's in a greenish color, as you can see there, because of the higher visibility, so you can see it. I mean, I can see this a lot better than I can something like this, which is like pure white. I mean, look at the difference in that. You can see this one a lot better in my real life, not in the video, but anyway. So yeah, this is a 330 yard spool, 6-pound test, green. The diameter of this is 0.10 actually. It's an XT extra tough, and yeah, you want an extra tough line. Mostly if it says extra tough, I usually buy it, because you're gonna get snagged up a lot, and I find you hit a bunch of rocks and that, and then you get all these chunks of your line, and then you got to cast a heavier lure. Like I was casting a Rapala Clank and Wrap with a 10-pound test line, and the line, I forget what I'm using. I think I'm using I forget anyway. But it was so chipped in that when I cast, all I heard was a snap, and then I looked out and all I could see was my lure go, and I couldn't even do anything but watch, and it really pissed me off. Anyway, that's Berkeley Tri-Line, Tri-Line or Tri-Line, whatever. And we get into this one. This is a Stern, another Stern, Super Knot. I just put this on my trout rod. By the way, actually I'll do another video on rods and that. I can't keep mixing my videos because I'm already 7 minutes into it. Stern Super Knot. It's stronger, easier knots. It really is easier for tying knots. It's just, I don't know what it is about it, but it's great for tying knots. Now I've stuck this on my rod. Now as you can see, this is almost empty. Again, I like to keep it because it's great to have, right? So you can like make leaders out of it and all that kind of stuff. So now that's Stern Super Knot. Now we get into the 4-pound test. Now what I like to use 4-pound test for is fly fishing. Now I'm just getting into fly fishing. I'm not good at all at it. But this 4-pound here, I mean, this is super thin. It's like you can barely even see that. And it breaks really easily. I mean, like that. Right? So I like to use that when I'm fly fishing as the leader material and all the material. I usually put about 5-6 feet of that on. And then we have some Rapala or Rapala. We have some Rapala Tough premium line. This is a 4-pound test again, but it's weirder. It's a lot tougher than that stuff. I think the other stuff is old. I mean, it does look old. I mean, this stuff, well, that was a little easier than the other night. Yeah, so that was kind of weird. This is in like a goldish color too, so there's another 4-pound test. I just, as I said before, I like to use this for fly line. And before I finish the video, we're at about 8 minutes. I want to make a tip. Now, as you can see, this line comes with this little notch, and what that little notch there is for is holding your line. So what you want to do is, if you're going to store it, just take it and put it in the little notch. But not all lines come with that. So if your line doesn't come with it, all you do is take a knife. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Yeah, you can see it. Just take a knife, and then you just cut a slit in it. And I like to do it in a diagonal, so it's smaller, and you just pull it into it. There. So then your line's not unraveling a lot. That's what I do with all my spools of line. So there. That's my video on how to choose a line for your specific fish. So yeah.